everyone, I haven't done a video in ages, so I'm going to do one today. And I've got 2 sheets of copper here with little circles and semicircles cut out. And what I'm going to do is just do, it's really an experiment on trying to get some warm blues. A lamp just fell over there. Anyway, trying to get some warm blues by using apricot and yellow underneath. So we'll see how it works out. It may look horrific, it may look very nice, but it's just really to test this. We're going to start with, we're going to try some yellows and blues, right? We're going to start with this pale yellow. That's a leaded pale yellow from Milton Bridge Enamels in England. Duck egg blue, again from Milton Bridge. Light turquoise, which is an Austrian enamel, but you can get them from Milton Bridge. That's light turquoise is gorgeous. It seems like a very similar color, but this is quite a bit lighter. We're going to use apricot, again from Milton Bridge, and we're going to start with those 4. We'll be doing the yellows underneath, and then the blues on top. That's what we'll start with. I'm going to do the back and the front. I'm going to fire the back and the front at the same time here. And for that reason, I'm going to use the same color as my first base coat, which is the apricot. This apricot has been knocking around for the workshop for ages. It's actually one of my favorite colors. I use it a lot. It has loads of little black dots because I use it on copper. But the grains are quite big now and they're quite dirty, so I'm going to use that on the back. And normally I would only use mixtures of things that have spilled, but I'm going to use that on this. Now this is A3 clear fire mixed with a bit of water, just water from a rain barrel. That's why it's got little dots in it. They're probably little amoebas of some sort. And I want to stick it on because we're going to stick it on. We're going to put this on, sift it on, and hope it sticks, so then when it turns upside down, it doesn't drop off onto the floor of the kiln. Because that's really messy and a pain in the neck. You don't want to use too much, because then it'll just drip off. That's enough. This is just a regular, this is actually a really old watercolor brush, but don't use good brushes because it's pointless. I'm using an 80 mesh sifter here. And I may be resorting to a 40 mesh sifter just to get some of the big grains out. I'm keeping the sifter parallel to the copper, not perpendicular, because that would be a disaster. It's not too bad actually. The grains are not as big as I thought they would be. I'm going to put plenty on. I don't usually care what the back looks like because it's, you know, if it's not a sample, it's going to be hung up in a frame. For jewelry, it's a different matter. You do need, the backs do need to look nice. Now, I think that's enough. I'm going to add, yeah, no, I'm actually not going to add any more. That's enough because we want to make sure it soaks in and sticks to the back. And then we're going to turn it over and fire it. I'll just leave it for a couple of seconds. Now I've got my cleaner apricot that doesn't have little bits in it. Well, it does have some little bits in it, but they're actually seed pods because I like to grow my plants from seed. Anyway, so there we are. You can see that that's not coming off. Now some of it will drop off. That's inevitable. But we want most of it to stay on. And now we're going to do the front. Now, I'm not going to worry about that little black bit of marker. That's a Sharpie. It'll be part of our experiment. Now, that's a pretty good coverage, not too thick. And now we're going to put that in the kiln for about 1.5 minutes, and then we'll see what it looks like. Here's our piece, and you can see quite a lot of the copper through here. That's the front, there's the back. Some of it dropped off where it was a little bit thicker. I think I might do another coat on the back while we're here. And what I'm going to do then is do another coat on half of this and leave the other half. Actually, no, I'm changing my mind. I'm going to do quite thick here, but just fade it out here, because we want to see a couple of different things, which will become clear to us all, I hope, soon. So I'm going to do the back again. I'm just going to use, for the sake of ease, clean stuff, really just around the edges. That's okay. Yeah, it's sticking pretty nicely. Now you noticed that I put a coin, well it's actually not a coin, it's one of the little copper circles in here to force some of that through. Don't start off that way with your enamel. You should just use it as it is. Now I put a coin in just to force it through, but if you do that straight away, you just get piles of enamel and then you're not careful. So don't do that straight away. Says she doing it straight away, but don't do that. You need to. Using enamels like this is a question of layering them up, not just putting tons down and thinking it'll look nice with just one firing, because it won't. Okay, there's enough on that. I didn't put enough enamel in here. And I'm going to put more here on this side. And then we'll fire it. Now here is our tile. I'm trying to speak loudly into this. My neighbour is mowing his lawn and now he's trimming the sides. Anyhow, this is our tile. So you can see that there's more here, and you can see some of the copper oxides coming through here, which is fine. There's the back. Messy, but okay. It has enough. It's nice and flat, which is good. And the edges are nice and black, but I did give them a little scrub with this little scrubber to get some of the oxides off before it drops into the enamel again. Now we're going to do our second. Right, we're going to do the back again. I'm going to do the back off camera because there's no point. I think you've seen that. So I'm going to do the back. We're going to use the pale yellow, and we're going to do exactly what we did with the orange. Okay, what we have so far, this is our pale yellow. You'll notice there's a big difference between these two in terms of how they look. This pale yellow has a lot of these little black dots. This one is much smoother. Now this has had 2 coats, fair enough. This particular yellow, and it's true of most yellows, but this one, it's really, really true of, because of its constituents, can burn off really easily, and that's what's happened here. Now I use this pale yellow a lot for underneath gold leaf, and I use it because I like that texture. When you put gold leaf on it, you want to have some sort of disruption to the surface so that it catches the light. And that's why I like using that rather than a really shiny, glassy surface like this. And even this one, you can see I didn't fully fire it because it's going to be fired so many times. At the beginning, I slightly underfire everything. Anyhow, so that's the yellow. The back came off a lot because this is quite old enamel. Some of the granules are very big. I'm not going to do a second coat of the yellow on this. I'm actually going to wait and do a coat of the blue on top of that because the blue is a much more stable color. So we're going to do a second coat of yellow on this, and I think what I'll do is, again, I'll put more on one side than on the other. Okay, let's fire that. Sorry, went off to look for a pencil. I always, if it's an odd shape, and I inevitably use odd shapes, usually offcuts. These aren't offcuts actually, but I trace around it, really rough. It doesn't have to be nice. I just need to know which one is which. So there's our yellow. There's our apricot. And then I write here what colors are used, comments on things burning off, like that, for example, saying, oh, the back is really nice. So then I know then when I put these away that I can take this piece of paper out and see what I did if I want to use the technique again. Here are our tiles. This is the yellow. It looks very nice, I like it. More here than up here. And there's the back, which I think is also really nice. Here is our apricot. Has a more glossy surface. And there's the back. So that's what we're putting the blue on these two. And we'll just see how that works out. So we're gonna go for the light turquoise here. You've got a lot of oxidation coming through there. It's much thicker here. But then we'll get some of the light turquoise here and some of it burned off, duck egg and some of it burned off. So let's just do that. Again, it's a 100 mesh sifter. I think because the apricot is quite a bit darker than the pale yellow, I'll put a bit more on than I did with the pale yellow. But I can still see the orange, the apricot underneath. Hopefully you can see that it's underneath. And I'm going to move this away and get my blue back again, my duck egg back again. There we are. Set up my little scaffold. So you've got a lesson in learning how to keep bottle tops because they're very useful. And I'm gonna get a bit, oh, that's the turquoise. A bit more duck egg. And let's go for that. I think that's okay. It's faded off a bit there, which is fine, and we'll fire that. Okay, this is what we have for our apricot, which I really like. That's quite brown, but I like it. And then there's that. So let's get our other. So there we have our two tiles. There's quite a big difference between them. And what I think I'm going to do is do a second layer of both across the top, just to see what, you know, two layers of the same color would look like. So we'll just go ahead and do that and then see how that comes out and then take it from there. Now you can see I've covered up a lot. What it says, I'm not going to do a stripe like that. I'm actually just going to do a thicker layer down here. I'm still using a 100 mesh sifter though. So there we have that. I'm going to do a thicker layer of the light turquoise up there too. Now we're going to do the same with our pale yellow tile. faded off a bit at the end there so you can see some of that oxidation. And then I'm going to do the duck egg on this side. I think that's okay. Okay, we have arrived at the final destination. I've actually brought this stuff outside. Well, I'm kind of in the doorway of another little shed that I have, just to try and get some natural light. It's actually raining out here. Now, it's not very easy to film stuff that's shiny. But anyway, so this is what we have. Here is our apricot one. Now these are just the pieces of copper that I cut out. I'm not sure what I'm going to do with them yet. But this is really just to show you. You can see the second layer there, there. That's really obvious with the duck egg. And there. Now this tile is a lot more kind of subtle in that you may not appreciate it that much, but actually I think that those orange, brown and blue look really nice together if you sort of single them out. So hopefully this has been of some use to you in terms of, you know, just blending, if that's the word, different colors. And remember just to try loads of different things and make a note of them. And then you'll end up with some really top-class work. And also here, this is literally just how my notes are. Well, they're usually a lot more messy. I try to impress you with tidy handwriting.